So as we mark 3 years of leaving the EU, UK voters are still evenly split, apparently, between the so-called Remainers and Brexiteers. Not according to our poll, they're not. But anyway, joining me now are two people with very different views on Brexit. Common Sense correspondent June Slater, who was always a very busy and campaigning Brexiteer, and the former Minister for Europe, Dennis McShame. Good morning to you both. Let's start with you, Dennis. Has Brexit achieved all you wanted it to? Or didn't want it to?
Well, I just listened to your news bulletin, Bev, and it said it all. The IMF saying we're going to have the lowest growth rate of G7. We're 5% smaller as an economy. We've got food inflation prices going up. The ONS, the Office of National Statistics, just released figures showing we've got a 52% hike in insolvencies. Not me, not you, not June, just ordinary small businesses walking away from creating wealth because they can't export to Europe, they can't find the labour they need, and we've looked at all these strikes. I mean, Britain's a sick man of Europe, and why are we having strikes in the health service? In part because we've sent 300,000, 400,000 healthcare workers home, care home workers, doctors, nurses. So all of us are queuing up. I'm thinking of my poor knee, much, much longer, thanks to Brexit. But we voted for it. By the way, your opinion poll was fascinating, but there was, if I may say so, a more scientific one yesterday. 10,000 people surveyed for unheard. No, okay, opinion polls are opinion polls are opinion polls.
How dare you, Dennis?
It's a bit more... Oh, well, it's a bit more than just, a tweet request. Okay, and what do they show? In all but 3 constituencies, there's now a majority saying the decision was wrong. And even in Manchester, June, your home base, Manchester Gorton, that's a red wall seat, working class seat. It's Graham Stringer, an old friend. He's anti-European, but he's a good friend. Even there, it's now over 50% saying it was wrong. Now, that's not going to change anything because Keir Starmer's where he is, Rishi Sunak's where he is, and Lib Dems are where they are. But nonetheless, this is not a happy country at the moment.
OK, June, let me come to you then. It is not a happy country. Dennis is right about that. But is it fair to lay that at the door of Brexit?
Well, Dennis is blaming the horse when it's the jockey that's at fault. We've just been out of the European Union in 2020, and 7 weeks later we were locked down. I'm not sure that I would have the audacity to blame Brexit for the state of the current economy. Germany's not doing very well. Portugal is skint. Greece is skint. Italy's skint. Spain's a basket case. France would be a third world economy if it wasn't making its colonial debt get paid back because of extreme measures. I'm glad to see that Dennis is laughing his head off. Unfortunately, going back to 2017 when Dennis actually said, it was reported in a Conservative article that he called people who voted for Brexit were bonkers and nutcases. I don't see James Darrington as bonkers. And I don't see myself as a businesswoman as bonkers. I had a house in Austria, a pet passport, a HEHIX card. I voted for my country to make its own rules and trade negotiations. We sit on their beaches. In the European Union, we use their ski slopes. We sit on their beaches. We drink their wine. We eat their cheese. We buy their cars. We wear their clothes. We're the best customer, and they're treating us like dirt. They're punishing us for having the audacity to leave in case anyone else wants to join us. We could have left quite easily. And, we were lied to. Your side lied. Your side lied. The media lied. Owned by the same 6 companies, telling us that Boeing would close down, telling us that Nissan would close down. Nissan were taking on apprentices at the time, but it was left to bloggers like me to get the truth out because all the mainstream media wanted you to believe, because of corporate advantages, that Brexit was a mistake. And Brexit is not a mistake, and Brexit has not had any time at all to flourish and us to reap the benefits because of lockdown, elongated lockdowns, and because of ridiculous decisions by idiots like Matt Hancock and Boris Johnson. They're the reason this country's in a mess. Duff PPE, billions spent on track and trace. Duff. Yeah. We are in we've got plenty of resources.
OK, Dennis McShane, there's a lot to react to there. Go on, tell June what you really think.
No, it's great fun. Sorry, I made a point non-stop, buried myself in saying respect the Leave voters. Now, do I think there are malevolent people involved? Putin, Rupert Murdoch, others? Yes, I'm fascinated by June telling me the entire media was against Brexit. The Sun, the Daily Telegraph, the Times, the Guardian comment pages, Owen Jones, the Daily Express. Well, you can ask, you just had the Daily Express political correspondent, get her to read out her articles in favour of staying in Europe in 2016. But the point simply is, June, if I may say so, and I don't mean in any way to be rude, when you and I are singing the old songs, people want to hear some new language, and it's not coming from anyone in politics. And I don't think, Beverly, it's really coming from the media. We're lacking someone to lead us out, whichever direction you want to go. You said the problem is the jockey, June. Well, I mean, they weren't my jockeys. I mean, Boris Johnson wasn't my jockey. Liz Truss wasn't my jockey. Theresa May certainly wasn't my jockey. David Cameron, one of the worst prime ministers we've ever had, wasn't my jockey. Is Rishi your jockey now? He's quite slender and slim, so he probably weighs in at the right level.
Do you feel, June, that Rishi Sunak is a pair of safe hands to negotiate our relationship with the EU whilst being out of it?
I'd rather see the country in those hands that Kenny Everett used to do when he used to do Here Come the Judge. No, we're not in safe hands. I agree with every single word that Dennis said. We've had duffers since Cameron. The Tories wouldn't be in power if they hadn't offered a referendum. The Tories wouldn't be in power if they hadn't had it. The Tories are clinging on to power by making out that Dennis's party is even worse than them. That's their strongest selling point. Now, I've been in selling all my life. And you don't sell your product on the back of the other person's product being worse. You sell it on its benefits. The Tory party have none. The government's to blame. The government's to blame for where we sit. And Starmer doesn't offer anything any better. This is a man who openly said he prefers Davos to Westminster. Well, unfortunately, this is where I'm coming from, Dennis, even though you might think I'm just a working class lass that doesn't know what's going on. We pay 650 MPs to represent us, and you want us to pay for another 750 that are told how to vote in the European Union. We do not need a second layer of government to run this country.
Go on, Dennis, I'll let you respond to that.
It's an expense we can do without.
Go on,
quantitative easing.
Go on, Dennis.
Bev, you got a house in Saint-Tropez. You got a ski chalet in Austria. I wish I did. I mean, you're not very close to working class, how rich you are. Good luck to you. I love skiing. Invite me over. I can take a free skiing holiday anytime you want. Now, the plain fact is, this is the point. We're talking slightly across purposes. I mean, Bev has been a brilliantly generous chairman, but the country needs some new leadership. Where it comes from, I agree with you that Sir Keir Starmer is walking in sheer terror of red wall votes of the press, and so he is trying to completely shut down any discussion of Brexit. But you've got 25% of our small and medium enterprises who have closed down because they can't export anything to Europe. You've got whole swathes of agriculture who can't bring in the necessary workers to dig leeks out of freezing Lincolnshire fields in this weather. Sorry, you and I won't do it. The sturdy white Englishman and woman won't do it. We've always relied, whether it's in care homes, hospitals. I'm sorry, the Irish built our roads. I'm an Irish family background, Polish father background. I mean, the notion that Britain never has had any immigrants in its midst is just a complete and utter myth. Look at the cabinet. It's stuffed full of people whose parents came here. Enoch Powell wanted to repatriate them. Suella Braverman now probably wants to send them back across the channel. I welcome the fact that we've got the most multi-ethnic government in the country, TV presenters, the lot. We should be proud of that instead of always ranting about foreigners.
Well, thank you both for that very good-natured, robust, fact-filled debate. I appreciate your time so much this morning, June Slater and Dennis McShame, proving that Brexit is still divisive, isn't it? Even to this day, 3 years on since we left the EU. I mean, it left the dinner tables, family debates, didn't it, to be replaced by COVID and lockdowns. But I think it's back on the table today. Now,